I was going to let it run a little bit. Welcome back to the Dad Compass podcast. I'm your host, Patrick.
And I'm your host, Dimitri.
Today, it's May 3rd. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're going to talk about some mental health with men, or I guess dads mainly, but with, I think it's men. A lot of the stats we have is men.
Biological males.
Come on, dude.
There's differences. I got to clarify for myself.
Okay.
I respect everybody, but I think a lot of our, advice and stuff goes towards a certain audience. We're going to talk about burnout, depression, men going to therapy, societal pressures. We were going to talk about fatherlessness, but the reality of it is we already discussed this on previous episodes. So if you want to hear about our journeys and kind of what we went through and how we, persevered through some of our own things in life, you go back and listen to them. I'm not going to tell you which one, not because I don't care about you, but I just don't fucking remember. So
it's one of the first four, if that helps.
There you go. So you can have 4 hours of your life gone. Actually, it's more like 5.
Or the greatest 4 hours ever.
Or the greatest 4 hours ever, depending on which way you look at it.
The biggest roller coaster ever.
Yeah, this is might be hard for you guys to believe, but this is probably the best starting we've had in a while.
That is true. We are getting better.
We are. A lot better.
You fuck shit up 10 times in a row, and eventually you're gonna get a little bit better.
That's right. Or you don't, and you just screw the pooch.
All right. Well, let's kick off Fatherhood Unscripted.
All right.
I will start.
Perfect.
So, this was an interesting week, I guess. I took my kid out of school so he could get take his driver's test on Thursday here in the Denver metro area, and then he had an appointment at the DMV in Steamboat Springs, which is roughly a 3-hour drive, on Friday. So we were going up to Steamboat Thursday night, going to stay up there and kind of hang out, just get some father-son time. And
that's one hell of a drive too.
It is. Well, it's a beautiful drive, and it was beautiful because I wasn't driving, so I got to enjoy the scenery. So yeah, it was a good time to bond. I spent about 48 hours with my 17-year-old, and I truthfully didn't have to drive, which was cool. It was good experience for him driving through the mountains. Driving in the mountains in Colorado's no joke.
It got sketchy.
It never got sketchy. The road, I mean, when we were going up to Eisenhower, there was some snow, but it was so warm that it just made the ground wet, so it wasn't that big of a deal. So
just melted.
Yeah. So it was just wet. So yeah, it was a good time. Davis and I have similar personalities, both pretty mellow, and yeah, I don't know. We had a good time. Watched a movie and ate some dinner and some breakfast.
You guys watch?
We saw the new
give some details.
The new Marvel movie, Thunderbolts.
What?
Yeah, you're in it, dude. I swear to God, you're the
fucking Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
I don't think that's right, dude.
It's right.
Thunderbolts?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
There's no... I'm going to be a young kid now and say there's no shot. There's a Marvel movie called Thunderbolts.
GTS, dude. GTS. You're literally the star of it.
Are you kidding me, dude? Oh, no shit. Oh, it's got the Russian dude in it.
Yeah, that's you. And he looks like you and everything. He's just a little bit older.
Was that in theaters?
It's David Hopper. Yeah, it came out on the 2nd. We got to watch it on the 1st, though, which was cool.
Very cool. All right, I'm going to stream this online today for me and my kiddos.
We got to
paying movie theater costs.
Dude, you're about to get arrested. It's a good movie. I liked it. I didn't really know what to expect, but it was good.
It looks good. It
You
looks
did a
good.
great job in it too.
I know.
What's the guy's name?
It's Hopper.
Well, yeah, Hopper's his
Uh,
his freaking Stranger Things name. But what's the character name in Thunderbolts?
um,
It's the red something.
dude, the red the red crimson or some shit. Red Shield. Oh no. I
I think
accidentally searched it through Microsoft Bing and a Microsoft absolute dog shit. Thunderbolts, Russian dude. Just because that's how my brain works. It is the Red Guardian.
Red Guardian. I want to
And
say the
it's
Red Assassin.
Lewis Pullman
Hmm?
as Robert Reynolds.
What?
Is that his name?
Is that his real name?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. His real name's like.
Russian dude is Alexei Shostakov, also known as the Red Guardian.
Got it. He did a good job. He's funny. I mean, you're funny. It was Dimitri.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I try not to. Jesus, dude. Whatever you just touched, like fucking radiated through my brain.
I had just elbowed my table.
Yeah, I felt it. It is
My computer's trying to restart.
David Harbour.
Oh yeah. See, and I wanted to call him David Hopper, but I knew Hopper was his
Yeah.
Stranger Things name, so I was all confused. All right. Anyways, let's move on. We digressed a lot of good movie. Check it out. Thunderbolts
Yep.
in theaters
And
now,
don't listen to me when I said it doesn't exist. I lied.
and they're paying us.
And they're paying us. Sponsored. Not.
Sponsored by Thunderbolts.
So my fatherhood scripted moment, and I actually, for some reason, I feel like I kind of talked about this last week. It was when we drive to pick up my wife last week, we're doing a whole thing out to all the trucks and stuff to get them honked. Did I mention that?
No, that's funny though.
Okay,
I
so
remember doing that.
it's hilarious because last week I think we got maybe 3 or 4 semis, and the other like 8 were just cars. So we're just driving down the highway, and I'm honking at cars, and they're honking back at us, and like the kids are having such a good time. Yesterday was the same thing. We were driving out, and I think we didn't do it on the way back because it started downpouring like crazy. Lots of rain, lots of lightning. But going up there, I told my daughter, and this was kind of like my proud moment where I said, all the people that are honking right now, they're getting just as much of a good feeling as you are making them honk. Like as adults, I think it's pretty hard to let out that inner child sometimes when you're dealing with life and everything that's going on. So if you're able to release that part of you, and if a kid's holding out his fucking hand, it don't matter if you're in a semi or not. If you're in a tiny little Prius, you better honk your fucking horn. Well, everybody was honking their horns, and it was great. Some dude literally like came out of his window and was like, "Ah!" It's like I looked.
Was it you? Did you?
No,
Oh, okay.
no, but every time we go, I'd be like, "Ah!" So they would drive by, and be like, "Man, no wonder this kid's fucking making us honk. Look at their dad."
It's funny, and I'm glad you actually said that. It's funny the feeling or the excitement that like you see from kids for something so small.
Yeah, but then
Like,
you think about it, and it makes you just as happy.
yeah, well, it makes you happy because they're happy,
Well, no, it makes me happy because people are
not being
being part
shitheads.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right, I get that.
And
I've never done it as an adult, but I do remember doing it as a kid. So
see, so you don't get it right now. So
you're right,
when you listen, you're at home right now, but when you go driving today, just try to get somebody to honk.
dude. I live in Denver. If I start honking at people, they're gonna fucking honk back, and it's gonna be like angry honks. And
No, see, we're in Pennsylvania.
well, that was my question. You're doing like highway driving, right? So you're like passing trucks on the highway.
Yeah, but it's mostly cars. That's what I'm saying. This is mostly cars honking, dude. Like when we get a semi to honk, you know how we do it? I literally pull up beside him and I don't move past, I get my rear passenger side window where my son sits right next to the driver's, and I'll sit there and I'll just wait till he honks. Like I won't pull away, and they usually
Jesus,
honk.
dude.
Well, you know what? Fucking better make him happy. I'll cut you off, dude. You're knocking on heaven's door. What happened? I didn't honk, man. I don't know. Who's up here?
All right.
That was my fatherhood unscripted.
Awesome. That's cool. That's cool. All right. Let's get into, we still don't have a name for this. We need suggestions, by the way.
Weird Shit Weekly. I think that kind of, I think it works. Kind of.
What about Weird Shot Weekly? No, just kidding. No, we can't do it.
Like, are we going to talk about like COVID vaccines? Those are weird shots.
You're stupid.
Hope none of you guys are growing extra toes or third, fourth nipples. Imagine you grew a nipple every single time you got a booster. What are you guys at, like 20? I respect it.
No, you don't.
No, I think it's fucking weird, dude.
All right, let's move on to Weird Shit Weekly. We're not doing Weird Shot Weekly, apparently.
All right. I mean, we can do Weird Shot Weekly. I'll just have to find stuff about weird COVID related stuff. All right. So there's a couple of them.
I'm going to bring something up real quick.
I'm listening.
This is related.
Okay.
So do you know who Shadur Sanders is?
Shitter Sanders?
Jesus Christ, dude.
Is that what you said?
Shadur Sanders.
Oh, God. No, Shadur? Yeah, no.
Okay.
No idea.
Do you know who Deion Sanders is?
No.
Okay, so Deion Sanders is a Hall of Fame football player from like the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
He was a cornerback. He played for quite a few teams, but he played for the Falcons, the Cowboys, the 49ers. Really good player. His name was Primetime. He a lot of flair.
Okay.
He became a head coach. I don't know where it started, but I think it's Jackson State. Is where he was. And then he came to Colorado. So he coaches at CU.
Okay.
He brought his son, Shadur Sanders, to play for him. Shadur was the starting quarterback for the CU Buffalo this last year and was projected as a really high draft pick. This is a long way to get to the topic that I want to talk about. So last week was the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Shadur was supposed to go in the first round.
Okay.
He ended up not going until the fifth round. And it was like, it was crazy. Like people weren't expecting it. They say that, he's a lot like his father and, he's very, flamboyant and just like, I don't know, like flashy.
Flashy, not flamboyant. I take those as two different things.
No, I don't think they are. I think you associate flamboyant with gay. It's not.
I associate flamboyant. And like flashy, I associate with like, dude, bright colors, and you're just like got crazy pants on and stuff.
Okay. So neither of those things are what I'm referring to. He's just he's a lot of personality and very boastful about himself. And Deion backed it up for years. He was literally one of the best corners in the league.
Gotcha.
Anyways, Shadur. So this happened, and I don't remember what round it happened, but Shadur received a prank phone call from a team that was actually actively looking for a quarterback. They called him and said, "You're getting drafted on our next pick," and then kind of hung up. It sounded like it was super brief. Well, they recorded the video. It is my understanding this is how everything found out. And I haven't done a ton of research, but I just wanted to talk about it because there is a father aspect in this.
Yeah.
So the defensive coordinator of the Falcons, his son got into his draft stuff.
Sure.
Found Shadur's number. He's the one who prank called Shadur, and then he recorded it.
Oh, shit.
So now everybody knows that this guy who just got a job with the Falcons. His son is the one who did this shit. Here's where it gets even more crazy. So I think he signed like $1 million contract, which is obviously,
That's not
great
that
money.
much, right?
Great. Well, he's a defensive coordinator, so not like the head coach or anything. I think he's fairly new. I've never heard of him
Shadur?
before.
I thought you were saying his son got signed.
No. Jesus Christ, dude.
Dude,
Are you not fucking tracking right now?
no, man.
I'm talking about the head coach signed $1
Okay.
million contract.
Yes.
The son prank called Shadur,
Yes.
recorded the prank call.
Right.
They got a fine. The dad got a fine for $100,000. So 10%, 10% of his salary, which obviously he still has going to have $900,000. But
Oh,
put
shit.
that in
That's split over years.
perspective. If you had
That's
10% of your salary taken from you because of a joke that your kid played.
Oh man. Well, yeah. I mean, I was adopted, so
It's not the point of the story.
I know it's just fucked up, dude. That,
I,
like
why do we just,
that was good. That was
it was
interesting.
stupid.
That was great.
I just thought it was crazy, man. Like, I just don't know how I would handle it. Like, I've had situations where I feel like, my son threw a TV or threw a remote through a TV.
Yeah.
And I just remember, like, this is going to cost me, I think it cost me like $600, which, is $600 I wasn't planning
A
on
lot.
spending. Could you imagine your
Yeah.
son costing you $100,000 for a
My
prank
daughter broke
phone
her.
call?
I'm going to get sidetracked, but my daughter, when we were staying at my buddy's house for the winter, when we were doing the RV thing, she broke their TV. Like, fucking threw something at it. I was very unhappy.
Yeah.
We didn't have to replace it because they're getting a new TV, and but it was just like I felt bad. I was like, I'll buy you guys whatever you want, and like meanwhile, I'm like, dude, I can't fucking buy you guys whatever you want. Like I'll make it work.
All right. Well, I'm done. I didn't mean to.
No,
I wanted to bring this up because it was kind of crazy.
It's the truth of being father, though.
Yeah, like it's just, I don't know. It's weird, and like part of me is like, it's a fucking prank phone call. Why is this dude getting fined? Like, who gives a shit? And then the other part of me is like, you're an idiot because you recorded it. Because otherwise, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
I'm gonna actually tell you a story about a prank phone call.
Yes.
When I was a young kid.
Did it cost your father $100,000?
No, but it got my friend in a lot of trouble.
Okay. All right.
So we called her, and this is when answer machines were still a thing. So we left, and I left a voicemail, and I was like, "Hey, my name is Claude from the Big Black Dildo Pharmacy, like store, whatever the fuck I said." And I was just reading off this massive like order of like sex toys.
Oh my
And
God.
I didn't know what I was talking about. Like I was just being a dumb kid. So I know their parents were like, dude, this guy has no idea. There's no such thing as that dildo. I've tried, like just like weird shit. And well, lo and behold, my friend, we don't see her for a couple of days, and then we do. Like, hey, where have you been? And she's like, well, you guys left a really fucked up voicemail. My parents listened to it out loud, and I had to listen to it with them. And I got in a lot of trouble.
How old were you?
Dude, I don't know, like 10, maybe.
She probably she probably got in trouble for hanging out with dipshits. That's why she got in
Like,
trouble. It
it
had
was
nothing
probably
to do
9
with
or
the
10.
sex toys.
Yeah. Well, dude, when I learned English, like I was bad. Like our neighbors, there's these three like really young, like attractive
Have you
people.
even learned English yet?
Dude, yeah, the bad parts of it. Like I learned English fast, and I learned the bad shit even faster. And I had to write a letter to our upstairs neighbors. They had to be in like their 20s or something. There's three girl roommates, and I can't even like repeat some of the shit that I was like yelling and screaming. But it was like I would just look up and I would just start saying stuff like vulgar, sick. Like, how old is this kid? Doesn't matter. Shouldn't be saying any of this shit. I had to write him a letter, and my mom made me walk upstairs to give it to him. And all the girls looked at me like this. And I was like, "You fuck."
It's a good lesson to learn though.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't yelled obscenities at anybody
That's
since
not even
then.
true. You didn't learn a lesson. I'm just saying that like most other people would learn a lesson.
I did. I learned a lesson not to yell that kind of stuff at people.
But you still do it. So you didn't learn
No, I
shit.
don't. I don't ever yell at
You
that kind
just
of stuff
talked
at people.
about what you did towards truckers. Like,
No,
and I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean that's in my head.
Let's get
I've
to
learned
weird
to
shit
keep.
weekly.
I've yeah. All right. Let's start
That was a
here.
good story, by the way.
It had its moments. So a man arrested in UK cheese heist worth $389,000.
He stole $389,000 worth of cheese.
All right, and to make it even crazier, he stole 48,500 pounds of cheese,
What?
and it's kind of shitty that when I click on that link, it didn't even take me where I wanted it to be. That's kind of
Did he say why?
um. No, it's like the story is fucking gone. Uh, so no, it just
Why
that's
does
really
this keep
upsetting.
happening to you?
A man in UK arrested for stealing approximately 48,500 pounds of high-value cheddar cheese by impersonating a delivery driver. The sophisticated heist has left authorities and cheese lovers alike stunned.
Yeah, I mean, I love cheese. I support this.
That's a lot of cheese. You love cheese that much?
No, well, maybe. I don't know. How long is that going to last you think? A couple years?
Me? Fucking lifetime, dude. That's a lot of damn cheese. Dude, where do you put it? Where did he put it?
Yeah, I don't like. How do you keep that refrigerated?
He had to have been reselling it.
I mean, that
Uh,
makes the most sense.
yeah, there was one that I had that was
You have another one? I say
I
if you had three, let's do two.
all right. I,
Since
I I did have
I
I did have one, but it's I'm kind of not getting here. There's a I'll say this one. Hereford's top Hereford's tops UK's biggest dildo purchases. And Hereford, I don't even know what this is, but I'm pretty sure that Hereford is a place in the UK. Obviously, is a cathedral city in the county of Herefordshire, England, on the River of Wye. All right, here's a little. So UK 2025 UK sex map by Love Honey. Residents of Hereford purchased the largest dildos. All right. Now,
why has dildos came up twice
listen. This is going to
already?
be I want you guys to kind of respond to this. All right. The largest dildos, because I feel like you don't want me to keep saying it. Largest dildos, averaging 7.13 inches in length. This is the largest. Okay. This surprising revelation changes the perception of the seemingly quiet town known for its beef and cider. And other
Beef
towns,
insider.
beef and cider. Oh my God. Jesus, that is great. Oh my goodness. Beef and cider. Beef and cider. But that's like a play on words right there.
Yep.
Jeez, pushing the. That is great. Other towns like Jersey and Inverness follow closely behind. That is absolutely hilarious. That is an actual thing.
I don't even know what just happened.
Dude, I can't. In comparison, that's approximately the same length of a standard pencil,
Do you
manual toothbrush, or mid-sized banana. In case anybody is wondering,
do you think that that's where your friend moved?
I hope not. I mean, they'd be making a killing if they did.
The one you pranked?
Yeah, yeah. They'd be rich. Oh my, these names of these fucking cities: Doncaster or Doncaster, Wigan, Peterborough, Halifax, Norwich, and Darlington also enjoy the bedroom favorite above 7 inches in length, with historic Salisbury ranked 12th. So I don't know if they're talking about Salisbury steak is like,
I don't think so. I think it's
I
probably a
mean,
place.
being the first to prefer toys 6 inches in range, 6.99 inches to be exact. This is fucking weird.
Yeah, we're done. We're done with this.
Do you know that they were used to be used by people? All right, sex toys have long, satisfying
Oh
history
my
too.
god.
The first dildo was discovered in a German cave and was believed to have been used by people during the Ice Age, 28,000 years ago. Just so you know,
Was it an icicle?
I, I mean, if they found it, it probably wasn't an icicle. But if you can imagine, it was probably something that left splinters or just doesn't. I can't
Stop.
even
Let's
imagine.
just move on.
All right, let's move
Nobody's
on.
even gonna get to hear about mental health because they're gonna turn it off before then.
They're going to be like, this is all mental health.
Yeah.
Give me some comic relief and knowledge. All right, let's get out of this shit hole.
All
So
right.
let's start with the kind of the beginnings of what we wanted to explore.
Okay.
All right. So we got, and I think this is like we kind of wanted to keep a part of this out of there, but like let's talk about like depression in dad life, right? What's what happens? What happens in men like when we're going through our shit? Like, yeah, depression, irritability, like anger. Like these, I think these are a lot of the ways that we express, and it's maybe I think irritability kind of goes into that as well, right?
Well, and addiction.
And addiction, yeah,
I, I think that what did you say? You said burnout,
yeah,
depression,
burnout,
therapy.
yeah.
Oh no, these are what the fuck am I doing?
I mean, you get irritability, you get anger, like
God dang it.
you're overworking like crazy.
I need to clean it up. Sorry. My bad. I'm behind.
You're good, man. I know you're just for a while.
I think all of those are things that I've dealt with. Overworking is definitely one. I mean, I did that for years. And I didn't realize that I was like battling depression at the time, but I think I was. I'd work 80, 90 hours a week. I'd get home late. I would drink just so I could sleep and
Yeah,
then wake up and do it again.
yeah. And I feel like maybe that's like that's. I guarantee that's a normal. Well, and I'm gonna say normal because kind of from what we've learned going through all this is there's a lot more people that deal with this, and they might not realize what they're running from or kind of avoiding. And I think when you have so much responsibility, and especially if you are the primary source of financing for your family, you're going to be working those long hours, and there's things that are gonna start separating in life, and sometimes the only way you can deal with it and clear your mind is getting a drink, getting another drink, and another drink until you're kind of numb to the experiences around you and to the voices in your head to just enjoy the moment. And I think maybe that's what drinking kind of did for me. It put me in the present moment and not a future or a past.
Yeah, I kind of think that it made me not think about like I wouldn't say that I'm an overthinker, but I can't sometimes shut my brain off. Like, and sometimes it's like just stupid shit that just is just always going.
Yeah,
But for me, I think that like once I drink, I'm numb now.
yeah,
Well, and I'm saying it in present tense, but I'm actually referring to past tense. I probably went like a 2 to 3 year span where I drank every night, and I was drinking beer and hard alcohol just so I could like forget about the day, go to
Yeah.
sleep, and then I wake up the next morning and do it again. I never really referred to myself as an alcoholic because I don't think that I was necessarily dependent on alcohol. And I wouldn't say it was every day, but it was definitely 5 to 6 times a week.
Yeah. So just
Um,
about every day.
yeah, just about every day. And I don't know. I guess you can say that it falls under that, but I've just never felt like I was an alcoholic.
Sure. You didn't wake up and like you're like I can't function today without
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah,
you get done with the day because as a father, and just I guess as a man in general, I think that might be the thing because you're not if you're responsible. Listen, if you're a responsible depressed individual, you are still going to do all the things that you're supposed to do. So you're still going to wake up. You're still going to go to work. Are you going to be happy, present, content with anything that you're dealing with at the moment? Absolutely not. So when you get home, you're going to figure out something that's going to allow you to lower your inhibition and allow you to be, I guess, more so of yourself without being yourself. Maybe
yeah.
like dealing with it.
Yeah, I don't think I realized I was depressed when I was doing the stuff that I was doing. I thought that I was normal. And in a weird way, it probably was normal. But I had to, I had to make changes. And honestly, so this is crazy. And I hadn't actually thought about this until we just started talking, but I stopped drinking as much. I got to the point where, I might drink a couple times during the week, but it was, just a couple beers or, cause I like, oh, dude, I love beer. I love the taste of beer. I can drink beer all day long, but I don't get drunk when I drink beer. I get drunk when I start drinking hard alcohol.
Yeah.
But I stopped drinking as much, and then I started getting depressed. And so I would think I was depressed before, I just didn't realize it. So once I got depressed, I had to talk. I had to get a therapist, and I am a. I've talked about it several times. Like my grandfather was an old, like he was just a older person that's like he's the type of dude that you break your leg, you walk it off, right?
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't say that that was necessarily him, but that's kind of the vibe I got from him. And I think you guys all know somebody in your life or know somebody that's like that. Like you
Yeah.
don't need a therapist. Stop being a pussy, you
Yeah.
know. Um,
Big,
and I started talking to a therapist, and man, I'm like super grateful that I did. And I like to this day, I still talk to him. I meet monthly just to kind of get some shit off my chest.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it was I wouldn't say that it was a really dark moment, but I was going through this phase of like, what is my purpose? I think. And I think that it was causing me to go into like depression.
Yeah. So you kind of so you sought out therapy because of just like no purpose, like you felt purposeless, and you're kind of seeing how you can maybe go through your own issues to find that place or what.
Yeah, I think so. I think I was just struggling with like a lot of things. I had been through my divorce already, which was a whole other part of depression that I really just don't think I realized.
Yeah.
But this was years after the divorce where I was just like, I, I think a lot of it had to do with work, if I'm being perfectly honest. And I think some of it was not knowing how to lead my kids the right direction. So
Man, that is the fucking truth, dude. That's got to be a maturity thing too, because you're how old, Patrick?
I'm 43,
43. When did you start kind of having that?
like around 40.
Okay. See, I'm having that. I've been having that kind of like thought process here for the past couple of years.
Well, honestly, it's probably similar to you, Dimitri, because well, I was drinking when I was your age.
Yeah.
The time when I was drinking like every day was around your age. So you're not drinking. So now you're going through the same thing that I went through after I stopped drinking. Because I stopped drinking, I got a divorce, and then I had like 2 to 3 years of being a single father, and I think I did feel a little bit of purpose then, and then it just hit this weird spot. I've always I mean I've been a manager at my job for going over 15 years, and there was actually a time back in 2022 where I changed positions and I was not a manager anymore. So I was no longer leading people. And I think that was a huge part of like, I felt purposeless. I was doing sales and that shit fucked with me a little bit. And that's not the reason why, but I think that that's when it really started like, what the hell am I doing with my life? Like, why is this going on?
Yeah.
But
Crazy.
I think, I think talking to a therapist is super powerful. And, I think a lot of people are going to say it's weak or you're weak minded if you do it, but yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, think what you want to think. I think your therapist matters. I got a funny story. I'm going to share this. I don't even know if my therapist knows this story. So, through our work, we have this website. You go to this website, you kind of fill out a bunch of stuff. They actually try to match you up with somebody who's a good fit. So I get 3 matches. The first dude calls me back immediately. And I'm like, man, I'm on the phone with him. I was like, I just didn't get a good vibe.
Yeah.
The other 2 never call me back. So I end up going with the first dude. And that's my therapist. And I think him and I, we have a really good connection,
Yeah.
a lot of similarities. But yeah, I was literally waiting for somebody else to call me, just because I was like, man, I just didn't. On the phone, the initial phone call between him and I just didn't feel like a connection. But yeah, he's helped me a ton. He's a good dude. He makes me he makes me think, for one, and he makes me take ownership. And I think I'm a pretty self aware person, but like he puts it in other perspective. So
Right on. I think I, so I've always tried to kind of like be my own therapist in a sense of like I read I read a lot of books that are kind of self-reflecting, like the 48 Laws of Power or the the Four Agreements, and just like a lot of things that break yourself down mentally. And the most important thing, dude, this is
that's awesome.
give me 5 minutes.
All right.
So I am gonna have to edit this now.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. You handled that very well.
Then you can't go in there. Nope. Figure something else out. Oh my god. This is so much fun sometimes. Kills me. All right. Well, I don't remember what I was even saying. So I say I think it was mostly to deal with my depression and how why I sought out therapy, and it was more so of my quick. I I would have like momentary like rage, and not like outbursting rage, like I'm gonna fucking break someone. More so like internal like conflict of I have to do the right thing, but like I'm just so irritated or like mind numb and drained that if I'm like trying to fix something, I'll break shit. Like not yeah, definitely like out of anger, but then I'm fine. It's like something's not working, so I throw it across the fucking garage, and you know, my son realizes, like, oh, it's okay. That's dad's just getting through it. They know I'm never gonna throw shit at them or fucking hurt them, but it's just like inanimate objects, not walls. Never punched a wall. Never done any of that shit. But like momentary, and then I'm fine. It's like nothing ever happened. Like, good. But yeah, so I went to like therapy for that, and she
How long
didn't
ago?
really
How long ago was this?
um 4 years ago,
Okay.
and it was the more we got through, she's like, well, you might, she's like, I think you might be a bit autistic. She's like, you might be autistic. You have some, you definitely have some like neurodivergent like things that are going on in you. And I was like, yeah, but like I would get so just frustrated. Like maybe it's like, I guess maybe I call it overstimulation, overstimulated in a moment. And I had to get it out. And like, that was my way of getting out. It's like when I was young, I would just punch the shit out of my legs. And I mean, I could punch my leg as hard as I can, and nothing is ever going to happen to him. And I was like dealing with stuff in a moment, and I don't even think I really did that much. That this sounds like way worse than like it really is. I don't throw everything.
I don't think I ever went through a phase like that. I think mine was like I screamed a little bit. But yeah,
Well, yeah,
I'm not a I'm not really a violent person, anyways.
yeah. I'd scream, and then I'd be done with it. Like that's how it is. I was like, that's I think that's the biggest thing I've struggled with mental health wise as a parent and as an adult is it's not acceptable everywhere.
Oh, you mean like you can't scream in public?
No, 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 no. Well, all right. So I have I have a very clear, defined line of what I'm able and allowed to do in public and say in public, especially when it comes to people being disrespectful or that kind of thing. Because I know myself, and myself is I'm gonna be fucking so passive, dude. Like in a sense of like, you want to fucking try to hit me, you go ahead. And I'm definitely not gonna be the one that's gonna start throwing punches or hitting. But I promise that's me holding all my shit back. Like I black out mentally, and that's I don't. You're allowed to have your emotions and your feelings, and I think where it comes into play, where you have to be an adult about things, and I think some people don't kind of deal with that. And I'm by no means the perfect adult. You can listen to the beginning of this podcast and understand that, but when it comes to like self control in like those scenarios, I know a lot of people that are like, oh, they said some shit to me, I'm gonna go fuck them up. I'm like, no, you can say whatever you want to me. I don't care. But don't cross that line, because then I'll fucking wake up elsewhere. So I've dealt with that, and I think at a young age, since I've dealt with a lot of violence, there was when I came to the United States, I realized very quickly that that's a very unacceptable way to behave. In Russia, as unacceptable as it is, I think it's a little bit more accepted. So
Got it.
let's go. I guess let's go on. And I guess we kind of touched on kind of like emotional suppression or like vulnerability in a sense, because you have to be a little bit vulnerable to at least go and speak to a therapist. You have to be okay. Well, I'm going to open myself up for some critiquing because I'm clearly not perfect.
Yeah, it's a. I don't want to say it's humbling. But it's probably a little humbling to talk to somebody. And like I said, I think I've been pretty self aware for a long time. Like I know what I need to be better at. I just need to be better at it.
Yeah.
But my therapist told me something that I didn't really ever realize, and sometimes it gets me in trouble. And when I'm communicating, especially with like a girlfriend or my ex-wife or whatever it is, but I speak very matter of fact,
Yeah.
and it's not like it comes across as like condescending, and I'm not necessarily trying to be condescending. I'm just being somewhat factual when I speak. And I think that it's a strength in a lot of situations, but it's definitely been a weakness in other situations because it's put people on their heels when I talk the way that I talk. So I can't say that in the heat of the moment that I don't continue to do that, but it's definitely something that I'm now a little bit more aware of. That I guess I try to not do,
You have a lot of humor though when you speak. So and I think
but not
like
in an argument though.
well, exactly. That's what I'm kind of getting to is
I interrupted you. I'm so sorry.
no, you're good, man. I have a lot of humor and like I say vulgar shit and trust me, there's this side of me, and then to your point is that then you have the side when you're dealing with an argument or a problem. Well, when you're dealing with an argument or problem, you are going to be very matter of fact. And I think that sometimes when you use humor to mask a lot of your like a lot of your emotions or frustrations throughout the day, that when you stop and you genuinely start engaging in a conversation, people do get off put. They're like, dude, why are you saying this to me? Like, why would you talk to me like this? And it's like, no. I don't know if it's made out of paper. Not wait. Um, yes, it was made in a computer.
Don't throw the mic. Don't throw the mic.
All right, dude. All right. Ronan, I love you. Eat your cereal, buddy. Enjoy your show. Stop picking your nose. Um, you go because I'm kind of the same way. I can go from being the dude that's throwing shit at a wall to the guy that is a little bit too serious in a situation, or not, I guess, too serious for other people because they're not expecting it. And I think that as a man, maybe, how do most men deal with being irritated? Dude, we throw humor into the mix because if we don't, then we're not enjoying it. Sometimes we have to just brush it off and laugh at it, like ha 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 ha. But when you're having an engaging conversation with us about, say a problem in your relationship or children, work, whatever it might be, well, then there's a switch that's flipped, and it is very serious. It is very blunt because we want to get that point across.
Yeah, that's fair. I think my biggest issue, and I don't shut down necessarily, but I can be somewhat of like a robot sometimes especially when I get into, well, it's overworking, right? We talked about it. Overworking is a form of depression, but
Yeah.
I will just work until I don't, and
Yeah.
then I want to do something mind numbing.
Hmm.
It used to be drink. I don't drink. I do still drink, but I don't drink near as much as I used to. So now it's freaking social media, right? Like you get on
Yeah.
social media, or maybe it's just watching a show. But I'm not good at communicating sometimes when I get to that point, and I know that I need to get better at doing that. And
Yeah.
it's not even like there's necessarily a conversation that has to happen, but I need to interact more with the people in my life, like whether it's, my girlfriend or my kids, instead of, because, you were talking about the game that you guys played last week. Like that shit's
Mhm.
fun. It's fun to see your kids happy and do that stuff. And
Are you
I
affected by other people though?
what's that?
Like, I'm interrupting you, but like, are you affected by other people's emotions around you to what you can do?
Yes and no. So
Okay,
sometimes if I can tell somebody's having a bad day, I do everything I can to change that.
sure.
Sometimes if I'm on the cusp of having a bad day and they have a bad day, then I fuck my whole day up.
Yeah.
I would say it's less likely with my kids for something like that to happen.
Mhm.
But it's more likely with like
Spouse.
Deanne. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But
Yep.
more times than not, I will try to make her day better
Hmm.
versus falling into I don't want to say trap, but like falling into the trap of us both being shitty towards each other.
Yeah.
But
And
it happens sometimes.
you throw it on your shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
That's
I think that's our job to a certain
yeah.
extent.
Oh, it's. I mean, so like a statistic here is like, I mean, less than 50% of men seek mental health. Like they guys with mental health issues, like we don't get depressed or anger, or whatever the case might be. We're 50% less likely to go and deal with it. Like we're not going to go seek external help. It's like you're lost. Okay, we'll figure it out. Like I'm not going to stop and like interrupt somebody else's day because I'm fucking lost. Like that's my problem. Like I'm going to
Right.
figure it out. Like, oh, you lost the directions on how to build this IKEA thing. Okay, I don't give a shit. I'm going to figure it out. I mean, I'm going to say when we got our truck, I bought an air intake for it. All right. I don't work on vehicles, man. I don't do shit. Like I really don't. Like I know how to change my oil. I can figure it out. Not a problem. Well, it arrived and about 8 o'clock at night. I started working on this 8 o'clock at night, and I had work the next morning at 5 a.m. Okay, so I have the truck fucking torn apart. I'm taking shit off of it that doesn't even pertain to what I need to be taken off because the instructions are gone. Needless to say, 3 o'clock in the morning comes around and I finally get everything hooked up and set. Yeah, I get it looks good, and I get 3 o'clock in the morning. I get in the truck and I turn it on and it sounds great. It sounds fucking beautiful, and I drive it around the corner and I get in. I take a quick shower, go to bed for 30 minutes, and I wake up and go to work. But like that's the whole thing. You don't have directions figured out because sometimes you put yourself in those predicaments, and even with technology, I think it's still we got to figure it out.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think it's such a weird thing because I wasn't like on the brink of suicide. Could I have just kept going without talking to a therapist?
Yeah,
And would I have been okay? I think so. Like I don't I wasn't contemplating taking my life because I was, in this funk. But I was trying to find another way to get out of the funk that wasn't drinking.
yeah,
And drugs obviously is another one too. It's not necessarily been a thing for me, but like it's a thing for other people. That's what
yeah.
they use to,
Their vice.
and then you don't think clearly, and then you might be a really good person that has kids that goes through this depression that now becomes addicted to something. And the natural reaction for everybody is like, this dude's a piece of shit. Well,
Yeah.
he's not a piece of shit. He's just like you and me. He just
Hmm.
didn't know how to handle his situation, and then it took control of his life.
Yeah.
So I don't regret it, but like, could I have probably powered through as being the man of the house? And at the time when I started talking to a therapist, it was just me and the kids. So there's nobody else here. I could have probably done it and been okay, but I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have. So no, no regrets.
Yeah. Well, sometimes we got to do what we got to do, man. And dude, yeah, you can. I I I don't think that thinking about suicide is this. I think when you bring it up, people, it's like, oh man, like there's like that's so sad. That's horrible. Well, you know what, dude? I guarantee everyone's had that thought process. Not everybody carries through on it, And the fact of the matter is, it's a normal thought, dude. Life is going to end one day, and what comes after is an unknown. And I think what keeps most people here is the fact that we have people that love and rely on us. And sometimes when we don't love ourselves, we're relying on that external like outreach or support to kind of keep us grounded and in line to say, hey, listen, whatever you got going on, like kind of suck it up. Not because we don't care about you, but because you need to care a little bit more about yourself and how you're treating your inner self. There's a thing I always picture, and it's you, the child version of you sitting in a corner in a room inside of your head. And that's the version that's sitting there crying in that corner, trying to still deal with all the stuff you dealt with in life. And sometimes you have to go inside your own head, sit down with them and say, hey, dude, I hear you. I know what's going on. It's
Well,
scary.
I don't actually agree with you. I don't think that everybody thinks about killing themselves. I
No,
I don't think I've ever thought about it.
I did. So I guess
Yeah.
like maybe that's like I just think everyone thinks like me.
Yeah, no, nobody fucking thinks like you. I
Yes. Go ahead.
I think I don't think it's uncommon. I'm not saying it's, but for me, I just never like. That's probably the biggest fear that I have is dying.
Me too.
So thinking about taking my own life, it's just never really crossed my mind. I did. I'm not saying that like if I wouldn't have been. Well, and I think that's the thing about like suicide. When somebody takes their life, how often are you like, holy shit, I didn't know this dude was struggling.
Yeah,
And I say dude, but like it could be a female. But there's actually an interesting stat for that.
there is.
80% of all suicides are men. So four out of five or 8 out of 10 suicides are men.
And I have a stat to follow that up. I don't.
I just gave the stat.
I know. I was gonna bring humor to it because
Are
that's
you
what I do.
testing me?
I was just gonna bring some humor to it, but I'm sure people don't think that's too funny.
Yeah.
That
Okay. Yeah.
100% of
This
them are
isn't.
successful.
But anyways, like every time somebody that has taken their life that I have known, I was shocked. Right? It wasn't somebody who you saw struggling
Yeah,
that did it. It came out of nowhere, and I think that's it sucks, man. It's so. I used to think people that did that were weak minded, and I've the older I've gotten, the more I've learned about depression, alcohol or alcoholics, addicts. It's not that you're weak minded. It's that you need help and you need to ask for help. I think that's the biggest thing.
well, they're able to mask it better. I think you're when you get busy, when you go out in public, you're over here you're trying to fit into the society's expectations and norms. In a sense, you don't want people to know that you're upset, you're depressed. And sometimes, you know what, you get so good at playing this character that no, the person that is depressed, that's sad, you've kind of locked them away because you don't like that side, so you pretend to be this other person. And sometimes that kind of lock gets opened up and they take back over. And if you don't have the tools and the resources or the support to reach out and communicate with, you get in a really, really dark place. I think that's you got to have that. You got to be able to, even if it's not a lot, have that one person to call and say, "Hey, dude, I'm really fucking struggling." Like I'll call my buddy and just tell him, like, "Dude, I'm kind of fucked right now." like mentally, like I don't know what to do, or and it's not that you don't want to do better. It's just that it's life's exhausting and it's a commitment. And you kind of have to be committed to changing yourself every single day, because it's going to end. It's going to end. You're going to look back and you're going to say, well, wow, what have I accomplished? And I think as a man, as men, we want to feel accomplished. And maybe humans as a whole, we want to get to that deathbed because that's what society says. And to feel like you've lived the life, like I mean, you might not have a yacht, you might not have a mansion, but you are going to have a lot of memories and a lot of people that you've touched, a lot of hearts that you've connected with. And I think it's undervalued in our day and age now. And it's more so, hey, who's got the bigger car? Who's got the nicer house? And everything's very superficial. And living in a superficial life when you try to be in tune and connected to emotions or your inner demons is really fucking difficult. I've never attempted anything, but I've been on some really, really close parts. Like I was telling you, it's the call of the void when I looked into it, because I mean, it scared me enough that I was like, dude, I shouldn't be fucking thinking about going on a highway and crash to a median and flipping the fucking car or driving off. Like this shouldn't be like normal thought process, but I mean, they happen. And sometimes you find yourself kind of moving towards it, and then you have to jerk the wheel the other way to figure out, wow, what the fuck? And you got to talk about it, man. You got to have somebody you have to speak on those things.
I got a question. Do you think that doing this is a form of therapy?
Yes.
That was a good answer.
I 100% do, because like I said, I have people that I can call, and like Patrick, like I said, you've come into the office where I was working, and you would come and bullshit with me. And even when you come by for about 30 seconds, I feel like I would just unload shit on you, just because if it felt good to have a friend that would just listen. When I found my mom and all that stuff, and you came by, that was like, maybe for you it wasn't like a substantial, like, okay, well, I just helped this dude get through his fucking day. But like inside, dude, I was destroyed. Like I've struggled with that shit my whole entire life, and then finally being confronted with it, and finding out, truth and facts about things that I've always known, and having to be confirmed, dude, it fucked me up so much. So it is therapy, and you being my friend is very therapeutic. I appreciate you.
Of course, dude. Yeah, I was gonna tell you that if you're ever in a bad spot, I hope you can call me.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's get close to wrapping this up. This was a good topic. I'm kind of glad we chatted about it.
I agree.
Anything else you want to add? Any more stats you want to throw out there that are appropriate?
I would say not. I guess not necessarily like stats, but I mean, yeah, it's just 44% of dads say that they're burnt out, or 48% of parents feel overwhelmed daily. And I think some of that overwhelming feeling, it kind of goes back to like suicidal thoughts, and like just like seeking help. Like listen, I think that there's multiple forms of suicide, and I think that there's the physical aspect of it, which is horrible. But I also think that there's the mental aspect of it. I think there's a part of you that truly is yourself. And I think that societal norms and expectations kind of kill that part of you. And you have to learn how to be yourself without pretending to be the accepted person you are.
I think that's interesting. I think I used to be somebody who worried about what everybody thought of me, like
Well, I
as a
don't think
parent.
it's like necessarily other people's. It's like your own. Like,
Well, I guess that's what I'm getting at. I used to worry about what other people thought of me, like as a parent, as a person, as a whatever. But the older I've gotten, the less I've cared about that, and the more I've been able to be me. Dude, I would have never done this, or what we're doing right now. I would have never done this 10 years ago. I think that I had
4 years
like
ago,
I may not have done it 4 years ago.
you didn't because we talked about it.
It's fair. I think that when you have skeletons in your closet, it's hard to be honest.
Yeah,
But once you get skeletons out of your closet, you're able to be more honest and be open and not give a shit what people think. And I think a lot of that my kids have helped me with that. Logan is a huge example of somebody who doesn't care what other people think. Jackson is actually the same way. They just don't care what other people think. And people love and adore Logan for who he is.
yeah,
And it's the same thing with Jackson. And it's this thing that like I wish I would have had a long time ago, but I always cared what people thought. So like I wouldn't speak my mind, or I wouldn't say stuff that I probably should have said. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's my you brought it up in the past, but like my kids have helped make me become the person that I am. So
yeah. I think so. We have there's external pressure on to be a respectful, well put together adult once you hit a certain age, and you should know better and this and that. And I think the external pressure is is always going to be there. I think that the internal battle with yourself, and I think I'm so heavily in the mindset that your internal war is the most is the most important battle, because once you conquer yourself inside, you're able to you're able to, it's not that you don't care what other people say. You're always going to take it into account. Like even like Buddhas and all of these like people in certain religions and figures, they still hear the words that are coming out, but what they do is they choose to disengage from the negativity that comes from them. They hear them as what they are and not as what they might be. It's like you take things at face value, and not necessarily people's actions, intentions, and this and that, but the words that they say, like, "Hey, I don't like what you're wearing." Okay, they're not saying they don't like me or they think I'm fucking ugly or this and that. Like maybe in like a female sense, they just don't like I. Hey, I just don't like that dress.
I'm not
Why?
wearing a dress.
I know, but like I just don't like it. Like, and my wife's like learned that about me. She's like, okay, well, when he says he doesn't like my shoes, he just doesn't like my shoes. Like it's not that it has anything to do with her.
Right.
And I think I have to personally disengage from the the dude in here that is constantly telling you to, hey, dude, go ahead, see how many flips you can do, and you kind of have to deal with it, and it's hard, but
Well, it's an important part of that I mean, you're right. Like it's an internal war. I'm not playing against anybody or fighting against anybody other than myself. So
Yeah,
you got to win that one. But like going back to your comment too, you want your, well, you want to be honest, right? So
yeah.
if your wife shows you these shoes and you don't like them, why would you lie about it? Who benefits from that?
Nobody,
No, literally no one.
but
And
emotionally,
it doesn't mean you don't want her to wear them, and it doesn't mean any of that stuff. It's just
mhm.
it's I don't know. I'm a firm believer in that stuff. It's the same thing with like food. Like if somebody makes me something, they're like, "Hey, was that good?" And I'm like, "Not really.
Nope, tastes like shit.
I don't want you to make it again."
Well, and if you do better. Not because you're a shitty individual, dude. Just fucking do better. Like I think that when you're blunt, there's a lot of what? No, I don't know. You can't watch that though. Looks like it's got stuff in it.
When you're blunt,
Hmm.
that's what you said, and then you got distracted.
Oh yeah, when you're blunt, dude. Being blunt is I. I'll put it this way: at our job, I have always felt this way, and I know we have people at work that probably listen to this or maybe not, and who knows if they'll ever get to this fucking part. But I've always noticed that if I'm very blunt with what I say, I it's you okay, you can move aside now because what you say might be taken the wrong way. When in reality, like, dude, I have the best of intentions. I I, I don't know how to say things nicely though. Like sometimes I just really don't. It's incredibly difficult for me to say, okay, how am I going to say that this doesn't work because X Y Z reason? Oh fuck, I don't have a. There's no easy way of saying it. And I think like depending on where you are in life, like sometimes that bluntness is, dude, he's just going to keep talking. All right, buddy.
It's about to be the Ronan Compass
Oh,
podcast.
it is. Yeah, being blunt is hard, and I think that's a man's difficulty, especially in relationships. If we're blunt, um, I think it's a little bit frowned upon of us being assholes or jerks, and we're not. We care more than you'll ever know. Like we really do. You just don't
Well,
understand.
it's a fine art of being blunt, not being an asshole,
Yeah,
and you have to. I think you have to try to navigate through that, and I think it's possible.
but how do you? Like, give me an example of being blunt or being an asshole. Tell me what the difference is.
I think just having a little bit of compassion in the conversation. Say,
Yeah, give me an example.
use the dinner as an example. But like,
I'll be your wife, or I'll be Deanne.
oh, oh, hey Deanne, I
Hey,
love you
baby,
very much.
I love you too.
That dinner you made,
Hmm.
I'm only telling you this because I don't want you to make it again.
Don't even say it then.
Don't say what.
Don't say it. I don't want to hear it. You don't have anything nice to say. I don't want to hear it.
It was not your best effort.
Okay, then don't eat it.
This
We're
did not.
laughing.
This did not go as I planned.
We're laughing, but this is. I mean,
I I don't. I'm not a good role player, just so we're
all right,
clear. But
here.
I think just having a little bit of like, hey, I'm just telling you this because if you make it again, I'm gonna eat it, and I didn't have to make it, and I super appreciate you making it, but I just didn't love it. So,
Yeah.
and you could say it that simple. And I'm not saying that somebody's feelings aren't going to be hurt, but it's not as in your face of that tasted like shit.
But so don't. But see, here's all right. So here's where I stand with that. Okay, I agree 100% with what you said, except the fact of when we talk about being sounding condescending. I think that's when we sound condescending. When you start off with a compliment or a I appreciate you, but see, in my head, if I did something wrong, if I made a fucked up dinner, um, see, my kids, they'll come up and just be like, hey, dad, that, like my son will be like, dad, that was horrible. Like, don't ever make that again. And yeah, it might hurt my feelings, but I don't care. He's 5 years old. He doesn't like anything. He eats boogers. Like, that's his fucking delicacy of choice. Like they're kids. And if my wife, it's, I think it's like, it doesn't matter how much you appreciate them. It doesn't matter what you do. I think when you give honest feedback, there's growth within yourself that you have to be at a certain level to give that honest feedback and be okay with what you get in return. And I think there's growth on the other ends that have to happen as well in order for them to take that feedback.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We're
Like bruised ego, dude. So many people have bruised egos. I have bruised ego sometimes.
Yeah, I think that there's a way that you can deliver stuff without being an a-hole. I don't always do it, and I'm not perfect at it, and sometimes I just say what's on my mind, but I will not lie about it. If I don't like the food, I'm not going to tell you that I like it.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to be Dimitri and tell you that it tasted like shit.
Well, I won't say it tastes like shit. Like I don't like it. And
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got different tastes, right?
I mean, we're saying food here, but you could put in like, I don't like the way that you fucking work. I don't like the way that you talk to the kids. I don't like insert X, Y, and Z in there. And I think it's more difficult for us to deliver things. But if my wife comes up and says, "Hey, dude," well, she won't say, "Hey, dude," and be like, "Babe, I don't like this." I can't say, well, I can, but then I can't say, well, I do. So, I mean, tough cookies. Like there's aspects that some days you do want to say that. And I'm going to say the driving thing. When we left work last Sunday, my wife like did not want the windows down. Like we got in a truck and my daughter was like, "Hey dad, can we roll down the windows again?" I was like, "Oh, mom doesn't want you to." And she looked at me, "Why are you putting it in my mouth?" I was like, "This is what you're going to say." And she says it. And then I was like, "You know what? I think that's ridiculous." And I just rolled down the windows. But you know what? She had a good time. Like we all had a good time. But normally I put what I enjoy doing, and this goes back to kind of like, do you kind of mask depending on, or do other people's emotions impact your choices? And my wife's severely impact my choices. Because at the end of the day, I love my wife, man. I had my wife before I ever had my kids, and I love her very dearly, and I'll do whatever I can to make sure that she has a great day. She can't eat certain foods or can't do this and that, then I'm going to make sure that I can accommodate her. And it's not easy, especially when whatever you're trying to do to accommodate is still seemingly not good enough. And you can't bring these things up because when you do, I think they're difficult to have discussions about properly. And mental health wise, as a man, I think we need to maybe normalize having us give honest feedback just as much as, we might have our wives. And you know what? Flip flop whichever way you want. I know there's some females that are incredibly blunt and able to just kind of take the feedback for what it is. And same with guys. I think just in general, we need to be more transparent, honest with each other instead of making sure that our feelings aren't hurt. You correct somebody not because you don't care about them. You correct somebody because you do care about them, and you don't want them to either look like a fool in another situation, and have somebody that doesn't care about them tell them that, hey, you're fucking stupid. If somebody calls, I don't even have fucking words. That's all. That's how I feel about it. Your turn, Patrick.
Let's wrap this up.
All right.
All right. You want to?
Yeah.
You want a question? You want to recap? No, let's
let's
do
do
a recap.
So let's do 80% of suicides are men. Fact. It's kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
40%, 44% of dads report parental burnout or just burnout in general. Less than 50% of men seek therapeutic advice or go to therapy. And this one was kind of weird, and I don't think we really touched on that, but 75% of dads say that they lack friendship or support. So,
Huh. That's crazy.
can you? Well, I'm gonna read out 4 questions real quick that I want to see if anybody answers in the comments. Okay.
Okay.
Or do you have those in front of you, Patrick?
Nope.
Okay. So, question number 1: is it weak for a dad to go to therapy? Question number 2: can you lead your family and say that I'm not okay? Is that possible? Not selfish 3. Question 3: is it selfish for dads to take mental health days? And me and Patrick both have strong opinions of that. I'll tell you mine. No, you're not allowed to have mental health days as a father or a parent in general. It's your responsibility.
Yeah. I mean, Dimitri's being blunt, but I agree with Dimitri. Like, you have a responsibility. And I
Comes
think
first.
from a work standpoint, it's a super gray area for me. Like, it's frustrating when people call in the day that they're supposed to be in, and that's what they use. But the flip side is, I don't know how serious it is, and I just don't know if people are taking advantage of the system, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
And now let's do the last question. If you grew up without a dad, are you more likely to fail or fight harder to succeed? So those are the 4 questions. Now,
1 in 4 kids grows up without a dad.
1 in 4. I thought it was 3 and 4. It is 1 in 4.
It's 1 in 4.
That's crazy.
25%.
That is
100% on this podcast, just so we're clear.
100% on this podcast. So, are those statistics skewed? I think so. All right, we're ready for it. This is my favorite part of the podcast. Every Sunday, just so you know.
The question?
Yes, love the question.
Oh, fuck, man. You're going to drop that on me? Like, what if I don't think I like my question as much.
Well, what were you going to say?
Are you talking about the question at the end?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think it's as good of a question
It's
as...
always a good question, dude. Don't underplay it. They're always amazing.
Okay. Well, sometimes I just wing it, and then
All right.
sometimes I do research. Last night, I did research, and this was the one that came up. And the reason it came up is because Davis and I were actually talking about it. Okay, so I don't think I know if you're a big music buff or not. Like, no, I'm not a music buff by any means, but I listen to a lot of music.
Okay.
The question is, you can only listen to one band or artist the rest of your life. Who you picking?
Well, yeah, not that great of a question.
I told you.
What music or band am I picking? I don't know, man. I truly don't. Like white noise, like buzzing in my ear. Like if I only had to listen like one thing, I don't know. Turn it off. Nothing.
You wouldn't pick a band?
No, dude.
Like,
If I
every
had
time
to
you got in
listen,
your car, the music that was on was this band.
nope. I would fucking throw my car. I don't know how I do it, but
It actually makes this question better. That's your answer. That's such a Dimitri answer.
Dude, I would. Can you imagine having the commitment to one certain song for the rest of your life?
It's not a song, it's the whole band.
Same band. Dude, you're gonna go through a phase where you're like, I fucking hate this. And then you're gonna get in your car and there you go. You're gonna be taking a shit. And then all of a sudden it's gonna pop up in your head. There's
I feel like
margarita.
97% of people would answer with a band. 99.9%.
Yeah, man, I have nothing.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
just
Well, I've really
indifferent.
fucked this one up. You put all this pressure on me, and then this is what I do. This is what I give you. Well, I'm gonna tell you mine,
Call your
and then I'm gonna
therapist.
tell you Davis's. What'd you say?
Say, call your therapist.
Mine is Tool. I have listened to Tool since I was in high school.
Okay.
They've always been a band that I have loved, and I think that it would be an easy. It would be an easy. It would be easy for me to listen to just Tool the rest of my life.
Okay. I like Eric Clapton, but I wouldn't listen to him every day.
You don't have to listen to him every day. Just whenever you listen to music, that's the music you got to hear. Does that change anything?
No.
Okay. All right. Anyways, so
There's no
Davis's
choice.
answer, which I appreciated, was another a band that I enjoyed in high school. That is his favorite band, and that's Everclear.
Okay.
Now, I personally could not listen to Everclear for the rest of my life, but I just like that was his answer because I didn't talk about this at the beginning, but he's got a whole playlist on Spotify that's dedicated to songs that I turned him on to. So he's got a dad inspired playlist essentially.
That's awesome.
So we listened to it on the way back, and we had to have a bunch of arguments because I was like, dude, I've never listened to this fucking shit.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I definitely heard it. I can't remember who it was. It was like a Bare Naked Ladies band. It wasn't Bare Naked Ladies, but it was like a band like that. I'm like, dude, I don't even know who the fuck this is. I don't know any songs they sing other than the one that's on the radio, and the only reason I know it is because I can see the title.
Yeah.
Johnny
fair.
Cash was on there. Everclear was on there. Eminem was on there. Deftones. Trying to think who else. Anyways, all right, that's it. This was an interesting show, Dimitri. We started off talking about dildos,
Yep.
even though we told our listeners, both of them,
Talking about mental health.
that we were talking about mental health. Then we ended up getting into the mental health. And I thought there was a lot of really good conversation in there. And then I think we kind of digressed a little bit towards the end.
I think we did good. I think we kept a lot. I think there's a lot of value in this episode, and sometimes that value might just be from you guys listening to us and saying, you know what, I've went through similar things, or I'm going through right now, and it's nice to know that I'm not alone. So I think it was a good one. I didn't know how this one was going to go. Like maybe the dildo stuff was I think it was too much, like too much on it, and I don't know why that like became such a big part of it. Like, oh my god, nobody cares. You guys might care, but nobody truly cares.
All right, let's wrap this up.
Well, I would like to say that not only do we appreciate you guys listening every single day, that you do listen, because somebody is listening every day. We're laughing, but it's true because I should have said Sundays. I hope that you guys enjoy listening to us. I hope that you guys have value. And I just want to say one more thing. Stay strong. Stay soft. And compass on.
Dude, seriously, I thought we weren't going to do this.
You guys will never hear that shit again.
It took me a minute. It took me a minute to realize what you were doing.
Yep.
Like, follow, subscribe.
Share to your friends, family.
Yeah, please. Other fathers, other men for this one.
Yep. Enjoy it, man. We love you guys. If you ever need help, call your friend, leave us a comment,
You can
and I
call
guarantee you
Dimitri.
that
His phone number is
303 522 COCK.
you're stupid. Jesus Christ, dude.
Terrible. Don't call that number. Take it easy, guys.